What's going to be at the very center of my life? See, people center their life around all kinds of things. You understand that? People center their life around their job, around their career, around making money, around sports. They center their life around a hobby. And I want you to understand, none of those things are bad. Nothing wrong with sports. Nothing wrong with making money. Nothing wrong with having a hobby. The only problem is that none of those things are strong enough to be at the center of your life. You see, life is like a tornado. Amen? Life sometimes is like a tornado. And tornadoes, what do? They've got fierce powers, don't they? And sometimes we feel like we're right in the middle of it, and things are being thrown all over, and our life is spinning out of control. And if you don't have something strong enough to hold you down and to keep you centered and focused, then your life is going to fall apart when you face that next crisis. So when you become a believer, actually the center of your life changes dramatically. Before you became a believer, maybe the center of your life was your career. When you become a believer, the center of your life shifts and it becomes Jesus. Jesus then becomes the center of your life. Why? Because you become a Christian, because you become a Christ follower. And he now is the center of your life. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 14 says, Christ's love has the first and last word in everything we do. Our firm decision is to work from this, what? Focused center. Circle that, focused center. What is the focus of your life? You need to think about that. What's the focus of your life? Whatever you focus on the most, look up here, whatever you focus on the most in life, that's what's at the center of your life. That's where your focus is. So I want to just help you to understand how Christ needs to be and why Christ needs to be at the center of our life. And I want to do that with this wheel. Now, the wheel has been around since 3500 BC. Been a long time, huh? And it really hasn't changed hardly at all in all that time. The basic fundamental function of a wheel is still the same. It goes around and around and around, right? That's what it does. The shape of a wheel, basically the same. I mean, think about it. A square wheel or a triangle wheel doesn't work too well. So probably they did a lot of experimenting back, before 3500 BC, and they decided this was the best shape for a wheel. I'd love to be there. And the use of the wheel is still basically the same since 3500 BC. Now, at first couple hundred years, they used the wheel just to grind grain. But it was the same thing. Went around. You can imagine they had these great big stone wheels, and they put the grain in, they ground it down, that's how they made flour, so on and so forth. And then about 200 or 300 years after that, somebody came up with the idea of attaching a wheel to a chariot. Ooh. Lots of fun now. Look at that thing go. Wow. Put a couple horses on the front of that, and we got some fun, And all that time now, wheels have been used in transportation, and we see it all the time everywhere, right? Buses, cars, bikes, motorcycles, they even try to put these on some boats, right? Because the boat goes out in the water and then it comes back on land. It's crazy what they do with this stuff. And the same parts that were in the first wheel are still in the wheel today. Why is that? Because it works. Because it works. It works really well. So you've got a rim on the outside. Every wheel has a rim. You've got spokes. Usually, they're not all looking like these spokes, but there's usually always some kind of a spoke. Could be wood, could be metal, could be bigger, could be smaller, could be whatever, but it's a spoke nonetheless. And there's also a hub in the center. Now imagine this wheel if the hub, instead of being in the center, was off center, and the hub was over here. How would this wheel then ride? Well, it would ride like this. That's how it would ride. Can you imagine being on a bike riding like this? You know, that would be an uncomfortable ride, right? And that's because the hub is off center. Now, imagine what it would be like without any spokes. I don't know if you've ever ridden a bike without any spokes, but what happens is that you get a lot of drag. And instead of being straight like this, you get a wobble like this. And so your back tire, your front tire, you know, you're trying to ride, and all of a sudden you're going down the road like this. And you're not going very fast. In fact, you're putting a lot of effort and energy into trying to just go someplace because you've got a spoke that's broken or even loose. I've had to change lots of spokes. I've had to tighten up many, many spokes. I put over 8,000 miles on my bike. That's not anything compared to some people. All right? But I've had to change a lot of spokes and a lot of rims. In fact, first couple of rims I had, I broke. Every week I was breaking rims. They said, you're too heavy for that rim. You need a bigger rim. Oh, that's a confidence builder right there, you know. So this is what I want you to understand. This is like our life. This wheel is like your life and my life. Jesus is like this hub. He needs to be at the center of our life. And these spokes are the things in our life that connects us to Christ. Things like the Bible, things like fellowship, things like worship, things like getting into a small group, things like ministry. You know, I could go around and around and around. I could tell you and show you all these things that keep us connected to Jesus Christ. Listen, if Jesus isn't at the center of your life, you've got one of these problems. Your life is really uncomfortable, and it's an uneasy ride, and it's no fun. And if you've got a spoke, if you're not staying connected to Jesus Christ through Bible study and worship and going to church and getting into a small group and all that kind of stuff, your life is like this. I mean, it's uncomfortable. You don't like it. That's why you need Christ at the center of your life. That's why. Does that make sense?